welcome back. Happy Friday. If it's not Friday by you, happy whatever day that it is. I'm going to be trying out the brand new NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I did buy this with my own money. I did not receive it in PR. I'm going to go over the basics before I start applying it. It is $49 for 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty standard for a foundation. This range does have 36 shades going from very light to very deep. The shades do seem to correspond with the other foundation ranges from NARS. So if you have one shade in one foundation formula, then I think that you should be able to pick up the same shade in this formula as well if you're interested. It is medium coverage with a natural finish, and it is also meant to blur, smooth, and improve skin with continued use. I'm going to show you some swatches of the shade Light 2 Mont Blanc compared to some other foundations. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade L2 Mont Blanc. The NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation in the shade Yukon L2.5. The NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Vanilla. Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation in the shade 160C. YSL New Bare Look Tint in the shade New 2. It is 4:53 in the morning right now when I'm filming this, so I do have a cup of coffee here that I will be drinking throughout, I'm sure. I think I'm having an allergic reaction because my skin is red and itchy, so yay for that for today's wear test trial. I really like this packaging. It feels nice and luxurious. It's a nice glass bottle. It does say to shake well, so I am going to shake that up a little bit. I did swatch this. I think it's a pretty good shade match. It's a lot better than the shade that I have in the Soft Matte Complete Foundation, so I think if I were to repurchase that one, I would probably pick up this shade instead. The foundation recommends that you apply it with your fingers, so I am going to start by just applying a little bit to one side of my face. I think I'm just going to dot, and then I should get my mirror. I'm looking at the viewfinder, but I should really probably look in the mirror as I try to do half of my face with this foundation. Anyway, it recommends that you apply this with your fingers, but I do have a brush and sponge handy if I do need any of those. I did wet my sponge and I have it here in case I need it. Right off the bat, it is very fast drying, so that little amount that I had has pretty much gone into my skin. I didn't get to spread it all the way out towards my ear. I did kind of just get my forehead and a little bit of my cheek and my jawline, probably because I was talking. I'm just going to put a little bit more so that I can get an even application. I'm kind of like pressing and dragging it to really make sure that I'm getting the most out of the foundation, really pushing it to its limits, I guess. So here's what one half of my face looks like with a small amount of the foundation applied and then rubbed in with my fingers versus what no foundation looks like. So it's obviously toned down a lot of the redness. I don't have as many breakouts or scarring on this side of my face as I do with this one, so that'll be more of a test for this side of my face, but I do think that it's really evened out my skin tone. I think that it's given it a nice blank canvas look. I think it's done a good job at going over the areas of acne that I do have right now. I think there's a tiny little bit of luminosity, but I believe that does set down a little bit more than how it's looking right now. But I think for the first layer of application, it looks pretty good. I'm going to try and achieve the same level of coverage on this side. So I'm taking it, and right now I'm going to try and spread it out the best that I can in the amount of time without it drying. Oh, alright, so what I've done here is apply too much to one area, and I don't like the way that this is looking. It definitely is having more of a streaky effect from how I applied it, because I was trying to beat the dry time, so don't do that. I think that I managed to press that in pretty well though and avoid a majority of the streaking setting in permanently, or for the duration, I guess, of the wear test. I tend to get a lot of gathering around my nose, so I am just pressing that in, trying to make sure that's blended in. Now that I've applied that layer, here is what both sides look like. I hope that there's not too much of like a demarcation difference from when one side got to sit down before the other, but when I look in the mirror I don't see that. When I look in the viewfinder I don't see that, so hopefully that's just like a a moot point. I do think that I got a little bit more coverage on this side, so I'm going to take a little bit and just try to cover this redness, or maybe my redness was just worse on this side before I started. So I'm going to try and build that up just a tiny bit. And I put too much on this finger and I don't want to over apply it, so that's why I'm blending it out with my other hand now. And I'm just pressing that in using my fingers. But it's building on top of the other foundation layer really nicely. I don't notice anything pulling off of it or making it move around. I think that if I were to use the sponge would soak up this formula, which is why I'm not really reaching for that. And I don't feel like a brush is really necessary. I think my fingers are doing a good job on their own. I do like the slight luminosity, maybe satin finish that I'm seeing in the viewfinder. It looks a little bit more matte in the mirror in front of me. I think that's pressed in pretty nicely. But from how it's looking right now, I'm really happy with the overall finish, the tone, and just what it's looking like. I think it's a really great starting canvas for the rest of my makeup. I'm going to push in the foundation using my sponge to soak up any excess and to work out any lines that there may be. That was a really quick application. I am really impressed by how good everything looks and how quickly it applied, and it's completely set down. I'm not getting any kind of transfer or residue on my fingers. It's like I'm not wearing anything at all on my face. I am really excited to put makeup on top of this, so I'm going to go and very quickly do that off camera, or not so quickly. It actually takes me a really long time to do a full face of makeup. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to go and do that off camera, and then I'm going to come back and check in with you. Here is the finished makeup look. It did take me a little bit longer than I expected because I had a small cat situation, but other than that, I think everything went as well as I expected this morning to go, honestly, considering how long I've been up for. Cheers. I will have all the makeup that I used for this look listed down below in case you wanted to check anything out. I didn't use any primers or setting sprays because I didn't want to interfere with the foundation. I do want to test its longevity without any kind of enhancement from other products. I will be doing additional wear test days, and I will give you an update at the end of the month in a foundation roundup video where I give you my updated thoughts on this foundation as well as a couple of others that I'm trying throughout the rest of the month. Other than that though, I will be including a couple of check-ins once the sun rises and I have natural light. I'll show you what the makeup looks like in natural lighting, as well as a couple of check-ins throughout the day so you can see how it breaks down or wears throughout the rest of the day. I am aiming at a 12-hour wear test, but seeing as I got this on at 5 o'clock, I imagine that it will be a over 12-hour wear test, but who knows, I guess. Fingers crossed I make it through the day. Other than that, I will see you in my next check-in. It is 11:13 and I am doing my first check-in. So it has been on, so the foundation's been on for just over 6 hours, which is just insane to me that it's been 6 hours that I started the endeavor of what's been going on today. It's been a very long day. Many things have been achieved in the course of the last 6 hours, which is surprising because very little things usually happen in that amount of time here. It doesn't matter. This is the first time that I'm really getting a chance to look at my makeup. I am sitting in front of the window where I film. I don't have any studio lights on or any ring lights or anything on like that. So what you're seeing right now is completely natural lighting. It is very snowy. It is very snowy outside. It's slightly overcast, so hopefully this is still going to give you a good idea of what the foundation looks like and how it's performing, but I'm going to zoom you in so you can get a closer look. It looks not great on my chin. It looks very separated, very patchy, very not great. But everywhere else, I think it looks good. I don't notice any creasing. I don't notice any kind of gathering or patchiness. I think that overall, my cheeks and my forehead look really nice. I've worn a mask a couple of times because I've left my condo a couple of times to go and do laundry and to see one of my neighbors, and I haven't noticed any kind of weirdness with where the mask wears, so I think that's a really big plus in favor of this foundation so far. But other than the weird chin separation thing, I don't have any major notes about the foundation so far, and I look forward to seeing what it looks like after 12 or more hours. So I will see you at the next check-in. So the foundation has been on for over 13 hours and I am ready to take it off. I can't keep it on anymore. So I wanted to check in real quick before I go take a shower and show you what it looks like at the end of the night. It's come off of my chin pretty much entirely and is like completely separated off. There is some wear off along my jawline, and I would say just a tiny bit of wear off around my nose, but I did wear a mask a couple of times, so the wear off may be more mask related than foundation related because it stayed looking really nice throughout like the rest of my face. I don't notice any kind of creasing or gathering or separating anywhere else other than around my chin. So I do think from that aspect it wore really well. I think that it doesn't look too bad. Maybe it looks a little oily, or it just could be the ring light because it's light reflecting, so that could have something to do with it. I still think it looks really good. I think it's worn off in a pretty natural looking kind of way. It's not something I would be worried about if I were still out and about right now. I wouldn't be worried about what does my face look like after 13 hours. I think this is somewhere that you would want your face to look like after 13 hours wearing a foundation and not having it sliding off or transferring or leaving obvious demarcation marks or anything like that. So I think overall it's been a pretty good wear test, and I look forward to continuing to use this foundation over the course of the next couple of weeks. Let me know, what do you think about this foundation? Is this one that you're looking at picking up? Also, are there any other foundations that you're really interested in a review on? I would love to pick those up for you. Otherwise, that is going to be all from me today. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you again very soon in my next video.
Friday.